Hello, everybody, and welcome to We'd Rather Be Reading. I'm Jerrica.
And I'm Lia.
Do you know what I am shocked at, Lia?
No.
When I finished this book, and I went, of course, to Goodreads, like a very diligent book reader, to make my starred review and then put it in my have now read shelf.
Yes.
It has become a need for me to do as soon as I finish it, because I cannot keep having it on my to-read list or even in my currently reading if I have finished it.
It needs to be done immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
Agreed. So when I went in, and I really enjoyed this book of the week that we are reading, and I saw that you gave it 5 stars.
I did. And I'm not sure if it was actually warranted. So
I think
we're going to have to debate
I think
this
a tiny bit gasped. Like I saw it, I was like, what? Huh? What?
Yeah.
We're going to talk so much about this today, and that is the book Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin.
Yes, and it was published all the way back in 2019 by Harper Teen.
I can't believe it's taken us so long to read this
I was like,
series.
When I was researching this, I was like, what else has this woman written? And it turns out she's only written this freaking trilogy. So another freaking debut novel.
Another.
It is uncanny how we accidentally keep picking debut novels this year.
This is strange.
Yeah.
I wonder what is leading us to this.
I don't know. Anyways, good job on this debut novel, Shelby.
I know, what the heck? This is like an epic fantasy as your first novel ever. With like so fully well-rounded characters and storyline.
But I think it's because I'm reading her bio here. She watches The Office, which will give her all the cues on a storyline. And she reads voraciously, so clearly she knows how to do a good.
She's experienced.
And she's from rural Indiana.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. She plays make-believe every day.
Yeah, but
now with words instead of with cows.
Cows? What are you doing with cows, Shelby?
I don't know. She lives near that childhood farm with her very tall husband and semi-feral children.
Yeah? That sounds about right.
Good.
Yeah.
So, I have to say, though, to start with, that I made a grave mistake with this book. So I was listening to it, and I have to say I've really enjoyed the narratives. I think they did a really good job. And one thing I really, really enjoyed is that there's a lot of French words in this book.
And pronounced so well.
They pronounced it really well, apart from Forêt des Yeux.
Oh.
At the end, she did it right. He said des yeux. And I was like, des yeux. But apart from that, it did not do any of the annoying things that I hate when there's French in my books, which is speak all of the rest of it in the French accent. I would have killed them if they did that. I hate that.
Oh, yeah.
Or, that kind of stuff. So very good job on the narrations. But then I was listening to this, and then there was all of these characters, and they all had all these nicknames and different names, and then some of them had the same last name and some did not, and they were back and forth, and I'm like, I cannot keep this. Like I can't see this.
Visualize.
I don't know who's what and where who's. So I went online and I looked up the characters. Don't do it. Do not do it. Just don't. Because you are going to learn so much about these characters that you do not need to know at this point. I was spoiled so severely. I'm spoiled for things that haven't even happened in this book just by looking these characters up online. I know someone's gonna die, and they're not dead in this book, but it said deceased on that book, on that site online. So yeah, I knew all about the twist at the end where he turns out to be a witch. Yeah, that said their species, witch. And I'm like, so he's a witch. And then figuring out throughout the book that this is like super insane, that he could not be one. And then it's a massive reveal, like in the last chapter.
And you were spoiled so early.
And I'm like, of course he is. I knew that. So stay away from looking up the characters online. Pay attention instead. Or, I don't know, read it.
It was the same thing with Six of Crows. And you know how much I fell in love with the character who gets killed. I don't know. Should we spoil all the books that we read? Anyways.
All the books that we read.
Then I looked it up and it said that he's deceased. But I expected in the new novel that came out that it was going The Rule of Wolves, that he was going to come back to life.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
No, he did not.
Anyways, don't look up the characters unless you're only looking up fan art of them.
Yeah, only fan art.
Okay.
But, if you want any kind of who has all these nicknames, because that's a lot, it happens a lot in this, that there's lots of different names for the same character. But our main girl is Lou, or Louise LeBlanc, or she has Louise Larue.
Yeah.
She has all of these names, anyways, which was one of the things that was tripping me up. And Lou and her friend Cosette, Lavoisier, they live together, and they are planning this heist for this magical artifact called Angelica's Ring. And it seems like they've done heists together before. This seems like something they do.
Yeah, they're pretty good thieves.
And they're with this guy called Boss.
Yeah.
Who used to be Lou's lover.
Yes.
And who knows that she's a witch.
And he's not a fantastic lover. And
he's not, and he is very selfish. He's like, I will protect you. And then as soon as he comes to it, he's like, you're on your own. Not great.
No.
Not great.
No.
And then we meet Reed. And Reed is chasseur. And the chasseurs, their job is to police magic. So basically, they're hunting witch. They're witch hunters. And
they're religious to a certain...
Yeah, no, they're very religious. Yeah. It's like whatever, religious warriors against the pagan witchcraft of the world kind of thing. Yeah. And Reed is the captain of the chasseurs, and he is also an orphan.
Yeah.
So he's grown up in the church and in the chasseurs organization. So he's very much like indoctrinated into their beliefs and everything. On the night of... And Lou and Reed bump into each other at a parade kind of thing where all these witches come in and they threaten the royal family. And they have a little, bumping in. They see each other. Lou is dressed up as a man. She's quite vulgar, the way she speaks. And he's like, what the frick is this? This is not how women are supposed to be. She's wearing pants. Oh, my God.
The pants was a big deal.
Oh, yes. And then at the heist where they're stealing Angelica's ring, Reed has gotten a tip about this. So he shows up there and he recognizes her. And she manages to escape. She gets the ring, which has the power of making her invisible, and she manages to get out of there. But they know her and Coco cannot stay together because they've seen both of them, or they've seen Lou at least. And then Lou and Reed bump into each other at a show at the theater where Lou's been staying upstairs. Like she has a little room in the attic there she shares with Coco. And they bump into each other, and Reed starts chasing her and knocks her over, and they fall onto the stage. And then in order for this not to be a scandal where it looks like he's trying to violate her, the Archbishop says, hey, you can marry her, then she'll be your wife and your property, and you can do whatever you want with her. And they were like, not sure about this, but okay. So they decide to get married. And it's kind of like one of those tropes where forced marriage, forced confinement kind of thing, because now they have to stay together in the same room with the same small little bed, and they have to get to know each other.
Exactly.
So newlyweds, not the greatest start to this. They don't really like each other. They don't trust each other for sure. Yeah. Neither one of them was really planning on getting married like this. Reed was in love with Celie. Yeah. But she turned him down. And Lou kind of had never planned on getting married, actually. She's quite happy being single, young.
And she's a little bit of a free bird with that, too. Yeah. She has had many of partnerships.
Yes.
And all of the genders.
And all of the genders. Yeah. And Reed is uptight and virginal.
He's a virgin. Here we go.
Yes, there's our virgin. And Lou is supposed to, listen to him because he's her husband and all of this and that, but she is not very good with authority. So she does not listen very well. She does not care that he's her husband. So Reed initiates into the Chazelles Ansel to watch her and be like her guard. And here's where I got really confused, because Ansel and Reed have the same last name. I'm like, are they brothers?
Yeah.
No, they're not. No. It's just that the last name Diggory is the name given to orphans. Yes, so they're both orphans. Yeah. And this is what got me to that freaking website that spoiled all of this shit to me. It. I could not.
You didn't wait till the explanation came.
No.
Okay, impatience.
It was too many names at that point. I was just like,
I never got confused once.
What is? Maybe I was trying to do too many things at the same time. It was not great. Anyways. Okay. And she basically convinces Ansel to show her around, and in the infirmary she finds Coco, who's stealing the identity of a new nurse, Bree, and she's there. So now Lou can start practicing her magic, and she does it in the infirmary where all of these people are being kept that are victims of witch attacks, and they're not doing so well, all the people up there. And regardless of the rocky start to this relationship, like feelings start to bloom between Reed and Lou. They are finding things that they like in each other. And, we talked in the last week about the demon and hero, and you called him a weak redhead.
Yeah.
Well, Reed is a strong redhead.
Yeah, he is a redhead.
Very strong. Yeah, he keeps his hair is referred to as deep copper at all times.
Copper, yeah.
Reed. She's funny, Lou, because she steals his diary and she reads all of his love letters, and then he gives her something else to read, which is a romance novel, because she's trying to read all the stuff in the tower where the Chazelles live, and it's all religious text and how to hunt witches, and she's like, not great. Right. But then he has a romance novel, and this is funny. She's like, where's the sex scene? It's usually towards the end, and he's all like, there's no such thing, and then he's like, there's one. It's one of the last chapters.
That's the only thing he knows about sex.
Yeah. And then it turns out that Madame Labelle, one of the older, what is she, like a madame?
Madame, yeah.
For like a bordel or something.
Yeah.
She comes to Lou with a warning, and it turns out that Lou's mother is searching for her, and she might be in town. And Lou's mom turns out to be like the main witch lady.
Head witch.
Yeah, and she's not great. She's quite evil.
She's a very bad mom.
Yeah, she's tried to kill Lou when Lou was 16 as a sacrifice.
Yeah, and did it again in the book many times.
And basically the premise of this is that she is Madame de Saucier, de la Saucier, and her bloodline is tied in with the royal bloodline. So if she sacrifices her only daughter, then the entire bloodline of the king will die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she wants to sacrifice her daughter because she wants to end the rule of the king.
And she had this baby with...
She had this baby with the archduke.
The
archbishop. Bishop, that's the one, yeah.
So the guy who's the head of the Chazelles is her pop-up.
Yes. Yes, and it turns out that Reed's mom is a witch, and that his dad is the king.
Yeah.
So it gets all sorts of mixed up.
Lots of family boggling around.
Lou and Reed has some serious ancestry going on there with their royal super witch blood. She's hunting her down, and it turns out that Madame Labelle is Reed's mom as well. And
that's when I clicked in that Reed is obviously going to have some powers.
Yeah, but they keep saying that there's no male witches. There's no male witches. There's no male witches. But I knew about this because I'd been spoiled.
You already spoiled.
I was so spoiled. And then all hell breaks loose. And Beau, who's the crown prince, has to go with... Lou gets taken. Reed finds out that she's a witch because a witch comes to try to take her, and she fights her off using magic. And then Reed finds out she's a witch, and he's like, "You're a witch, this is unacceptable, blah, 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 get out of my sight." And she's like, "No, my husband, he doesn't love me, I thought he did." And then she gets taken by her mom. Like, as soon as she pretty much steps outside of the tower, she gets taken. And then Reed has to form a little band together with Beau, the crown prince, Coco, and Madame Labelle, and Ansel.
At this point, they have now fallen in.
Yeah, they're in love and they've had sex.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the section.
Where he was a virgin and she had to do some teaching.
And she taught him! You know, this is my favorite part of this book because when it happened, I was like, oh, Leah, look, it's section education by a female.
Yes.
And not by the male who's the virgin and is like, but I'm still going to teach you how to have an orgasm.
Yeah.
But she's like, no, I teach you.
I teach you.
And he was like so impressed and he learned. He was a fast learner. And I was very happy with...
He let instinct guide him.
Yes. And I wrote to you and I said, he was a very good learner.
He was a
good job, Reed.
Good job, Reed. Yes. So
now they've said
they're in love. They've slept together. Yeah. Their marriage has gone from being like forced to something they both want to work on. Yeah. And I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that happens. Like there's Christmas time or Yuletide, like they call it, and they try to buy each other gifts. And then all these people that Lou gave up to the Chasseurs try to kill her, and she has to use magic. But there's all sorts of times where she has to use magic and she has to hide it because magic gives off smell.
Yeah.
But anyways, Lou's been taken.
That she gets taken and
by her mom, and he keeps her drugged all the time.
But he says, "I don't love you."
Yeah. No, he doesn't say, "I don't love you." He just says, "Go, like leave my, like get out of my sight. Like I can't trust you. You lied to me," kind of thing. But he doesn't actually say he doesn't love her. He just says, "You're not who I thought you were," and kind of.
But there was something about it because she keeps like running around in her head over.
"You're not
and over.
my wife," is what he says. Okay. But it's not. He doesn't say he doesn't love her. But he says like, "You're not my wife," and so she gets taken by her mom, and she gets drugs, and they travel to the castle, which is where the witches, where I guess she lives, which is where, the chateau, right, where you can only see it if you're a witch, and you have to be a Madame Blanche, which is a white witch, which is what Lou is. And Coco is also a witch, but she's a Madame Rouge.
Yes.
So she's a blood witch, so that's different. So she's not welcome at the castle either. And this team, the A-team, sort of Reed, Ansel, and Coco, Beau, and Madame Labelle have to try to make their way there in time to rescue Lou from being sacrificed. Yeah. And they have to take the long way around because the whole forest is crawling with chasseurs and witches, and also people that don't want them to succeed. And the B team, the chasseurs, are also on the hunt here for Lou.
Yes.
And particularly for her mom, Morgane. And then they make it just in time for the big feast. And in order to get in, they have to get a witch to bring them in as like a consort kind of thing. And Madame Labelle changes their faces, and she changes everyone to be kind of ugly apart from Reed, who she changes to be very beautiful. And then he had these triplets fighting over it, which is very funny. And as they go in, there's the feast and all the witches are happy and they're dancing, and then it comes to the point of sacrificing Lou. And Reed's been told to wait for Madame Labelle's sign, but then it turns out that Madame Labelle has been taken, she's been captured, and they try to kill her.
Yeah.
And then Morgane slashes Lou's throat, and Reed spots what they call a pattern, and this is what the witches see. They see pattern, like golden strings kind of thing. Yeah. That leads from Lou to the archbishop. So he figures out that if he kills the archbishop, then Lou will live. Yes. So he lunges...
A life for a life, a love for a love.
He sacrifices the archbishop's life for Lou, and this is not great because Morgane's been planning this for years and years, and she's not happy, so she's trying immediately to kill Lou again. But our A-team here manages to grab her and Madame Labelle and leg it out of there into their camp.
And B-team arrows.
B-team shoots down all of the witches and everyone else. Like, just random killing everyone in sight. Yeah. And then they're in La Forêt des Yeux, and they're surrounded by enemies. And this is pretty much where we end. Like, they...
Yeah, it was abrupt.
Lou is alive. She's very weak. Madame Labelle is also alive and also weak, and Lou and Reed profess their love for each other.
Yeah, love you. Yeah.
And that's pretty much where book 1 ends, which means we need to pick up book 2 now.
And we find out that Coco's aunt is...
like a super powerful witch.
Yes.
Blood witch, yeah.
So that's where we're going next, I can only assume.
Yeah, so she says she's going to hide them within her coven.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I guess, where it's going.
But yeah, we got to read this next book right away, because when it stopped, I was like, what? It literally stopped at him saying, oh shit, and then it stopped at the end of the book.
And I was thinking about this because I was like, I'm sure there's continuity in this, but I had such a hard time to follow with the audiobook that I really, really need to read the second one. So I'm going to be reading the second one, yeah. I mean, the audiobook was good, but...
Yeah.
But
I could see very many love triangles and maybe even threesomes happening all over the place in the upcoming book too. So I look forward to that part of my discussion next week.
But honestly, Reed and Lou's relationship, like I was shipping them so hard all along because he was funny. Like it was so funny. She gets on his nerves so bad. And there's like this one line in this book where he's like, I'd given up on counting when I got angry because she just counted right along with me. And I could just see how that would be so annoying. You're like, 1, 2, and then
1, 2, 3.
Oh God, I would kill someone. And then at the end, Reed is like, why the fuck is everyone in this kingdom trying to kill my wife? And he swears and this like,
and she said, did you just say the F word?
Did you just curse? But they are good. I like them. I like them a lot.
I like so much about this book. I like Ansel a lot. I like Coco a lot. There's not a lot of characters other than the ones we're supposed to hate that I, didn't like, which was basically just the mom. Even I like the Archbishop. Yeah. But I thought everybody was so also distinct. There's a lot of times, especially in debut novels, where the characters sort of blend into each other a little bit, especially when you're adding a lot of them and they're like all soldiers or something like that.
Yeah.
Or all fae or whatever it is. But they were so individualistic and I thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah. There's one character we didn't talk about now. It was Jean-Luc and he was... Reed's best friend. Yeah. But he was very jealous of Reed, like the whole way through. True. And he will now, I guess, be the new captain of the Chasseurs. So I'm guessing he's going to be important going forward. And now the Archbishop is dead as well. So this means that the Chasseurs, they won't have his protecting because he knew that Lou was his daughter. And this was part of the reason why he made Reed marry her so that he could protect her kind of thing. Yeah. Even though he didn't really want to. Like, he was conflicted. Yeah. The Archbishop was conflicted. But yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It was very clear, all the characters, who they were. The only one I didn't really get a grasp on was Bo. But I think I was zoning out every time they said his name. I need to get better at that. This is why I need to read the next one. Like, I feel like I will get a better grasp on these characters.
I also think I will get a better grasp at reading.
Yeah. But they did really well with the audiobook, with the narration.
It was really good. I preferred when I listened to his narration because I felt like in her narration, his voice was so harsh that it made him sound angry all the time.
But I think he wasn't all the time.
Okay.
Like, I think Reed was, like, frustrated with her at all time because, well... She was kind of annoying.
She's annoying.
When she sings like the bar song.
I love this bar song that came back at the end. Big Tiddy Liddy. That was really funny. And then it was like as if there was some sort of hidden message in the Big Tiddy Liddy song and everyone like stops and listens to it. It was brilliant bringing that back around.
And then she's like to Bo, it looks like we go to the same bars. Because they both sing in the same song.
I know, it was so clever.
It was good. It was clever dialogue and everything. So if you want a really good like trilogy, I can't speak for the other two books. We'll talk about them soon. Yeah. But I would definitely pick up
Serpent and
Dove. And the next one is called Blood and Honey.
Yes.
Book number 2. So we'll be reading that. So, and for next week, I don't know. We haven't decided yet.
Well, I thought the same thing. Did you plan something? No,
well, I planned lots of things, but not that.
So much planning. Okay. Well, it will be a surprise then.
It will be a surprise. We'll post about it on social media or something. We have a lot of books in the pipe, so I'm sure we'll find something suitable for next week. But until then, we might have a baby friend by then too. So
yeah.
We better have a baby friend by then.
It will be so noisy in the background though.
I'm good at making them sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
Good. Well, thanks for listening.
We will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
We'd Rather Be Reading is an original podcast by Jerrica and Lia and The music for The Penguins, written and performed by David Allred from the album The Transition, courtesy of Erased Tapes. Please check him out on Spotify and check us out on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at We'd Rather Be Reading and on Twitter at We'd Rather Read. You can also email us at we'dratherbereadingthepod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.